Thank you so much for having me here with all of you. I had the great opportunity to be with you all last year, and so I'm very happy to be joining you again this year. I actually am in Northern California right now, and we've this is the first time that we've had a break for longer than 3 weeks, and there hasn't been bad AQI. And of course, it gets bad at night, but at least we're having a little bit of a break from wildfire smoke. And so I was just going to talk about these climate movements and give sort of an update because it's been a very um, interesting year where we've had to learn and grow and adapt. And so, first of all, hello everyone, and thank you for having me here. My name is Alexandria Villasen, and I'm a 15-year-old climate activist and one of the leaders of the youth climate movement here in the United States. I also organize internationally and am the founder of the climate education nonprofit Earth Uprising International. And I began striking with Greta all the way back in 2018 when I launched a weekly Fridays for Future solidarity strike in front of the United Nations headquarters in New York City. And I remained out there every Friday until the pandemic hit in March of this year. And so while we are mostly inside now here in the United States, due to our ineffective COVID response, we are still organizing both online and for some small socially distanced events we've actually held in person. And so first, I want to talk about our most recent day of global climate action, which occurred on September 25th, only a few months ago, where youth in over 3,500 cities and towns in over 154 countries came out to protest global inaction on the climate crisis. And so I am exceptionally proud of our movement where we ensured people remain socially distanced and safe if they organized in person. And for those who couldn't organize in person, on September 24th and 25th, we held the largest digital strikes we've ever had. And so this was where we flooded all social media platforms with posts and informations not only about the climate crisis, but in our messaging, we also continue to call out the largest polluters and the worst governments for their continued inaction. And so while digital actions don't see us on the streets, they do create an online conversation and drown out the messaging of fossil fuel friendly people and institutions. And they remind everyone that we will continue to be a voice and a presence, regardless of the crisis the world is enduring right now. And so another kind of action we're taking is we're littering public spaces with shoe strikes, sign strikes, and other kinds of signage, which also take up space in public venues. With respect to our plans for the future, right now, small groups continue to meet every Friday, like what you see Greta and some of her friends doing in Sweden. There are some small groups that continue to strike every Friday in person and socially distance, and there is a huge weekly digital strike movement that just continues to grow. And here in the United States, though, things are a bit different for us. As you know, we just had an election that will likely be a huge decision factor in the future of the entire planet. Our movement knows that we don't have a pathway to anything under 2 degrees Celsius without the United States involvement. And so I've been fortunate to be involved in the political process here in the United States. And I'm encouraged by many of Joe Biden's cabinet appointees. For example, we're bringing back Gina McCarthy, a previous head of the EPA, and she will assume a newly created role of climate czar in the White House. President-elect Biden has also nominated John Kerry as climate envoy to work with other nations and create global climate action. So I'm really excited that next month, when Joe Biden is inaugurated, we will also be rejoining the Paris Agreement finally. So things are really exciting here in the United States. And for the first time in my activism, we have an incoming federal administration that is listening to and working with activists. So we have been invited to talk with our leaders now instead of being frozen out by a bunch of climate deniers. Globally, we also know the world stands with us. We know everyone is watching us right now that the US election has passed. We're talking about how we'll represent the United States at COP26, and the youth will be showing up with our demands and voices in Glasgow next year. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have, and I want to thank you for supporting our movement and our organizing.